Danny H Retro Gaming Master here. Now recently, Rob Essex Retro Gamer, brilliant guy, check out his channel, he's absolutely fantastic. He gave a little recommendation on people that are thinking of starting a video game collection. Like wanting to get into it, wanting to sort of have a few tips and that. He gave a few tips of his own, obviously to recommend that the Xbox 360 was the best console to start with. So I'm going to give you a few tips of my own just to help you as well. Help you decide as well if you want to start a collection on what consoles are still going comparatively cheap. Anyway, we'll start with the Xbox 360. Now, obviously not that particular one because that's an R2-D2 Star Wars edition. They are pretty expensive, but if you get yourself a black Slim or a black E model, you know they are still pretty cheap to buy. And the games, obviously, a lot of them are worth very little now. I mean, they will start going up in price because obviously they're on the cusp of becoming retro. So yeah, so that's still a good console to look out for, the Xbox 360. So obviously that is a good console to start, but obviously not that one, but obviously a black one, black E or a Slim. If you're gonna get a fat one, the Jasper's probably the best one because it doesn't get red rings and nowhere near as much as the other ones. But obviously Jasper ones are, you know, you can pick them up very cheap nowadays. Obviously check the back of the console to make sure the power supply is the correct one for the one, because sometimes people will change the casings over and it's not quite what it seems. Anyway, so Xbox 360 is a good one to start with. Obviously not R2-D2 edition, but a black one or a grey one. Anyway, let's move on to the PS2. Again, not the pink version, probably not the pink, perhaps not the pink version because that's obviously still quite expensive as well. The PS2 is another good one to get early on because they're still comparatively cheap in price. So obviously don't go for the pink or the Sakura blue coloured one that I've got. So I've got a Sakura blue fat one as well, but the pink one, but not the pink one rather. Go for either a silver one or a black one, and that's for the slim and the fat version. They are still comparatively cheap in price if you look in the right places. The games, you can get loads of games for them. And the PS2 will also play PlayStation 1 as well. PlayStation 1s are probably not the best to start a collection with because you can play the PlayStation 1 games on the PlayStation 2 anyway, and that means you can play the PlayStation 2 games as well. So again, PlayStation 2 is a good one to get. Obviously not pink one, but a black or a grey one, black or a silver one, you can still pick them up comparatively cheap. And we move on to the third console, which is the Nintendo Wii. The Nintendo Wii, now again, the red ones are quite expensive, but if you go for a white or a black coloured one, don't get the blue one because the blue one can't play GameCube. The sky blue one can't play GameCube. And I think, but with a Wii, is a little tip. Always make sure that flap comes down. If it doesn't, leave it because it won't play GameCube. But the Nintendo Wii's can be bought very cheap. It can also be bought very cheap if you go to the right places. And also, not only that, they also play GameCube. You can put homebrew channel on them. They are very, very easy to mod. I can help you with games, and if you want to put games in onto SD card or hard drive, I can help give some advice on that if you're willing to do that. But again, Nintendo Wii is a very good console to buy. You can buy them very cheap from the right places. But again, make sure you check the flaps and make sure the flaps come down. Make sure you've got the controller port there and the memory card port there, because then you can play GameCube on that as well. GameCubes, again, not the best ones because they are pretty expensive. They are very expensive consoles, unfortunately, the GameCube. But they're nice consoles. But if you want to play GameCube, you can play GameCube and Wii on a Nintendo Wii. Right, so now we move over to a Mega Drive 2. Now, Sega Mega Drives sold by the millions. They just sold and sold and sold. Sega sold loads of them. Now, they are still comparatively cheap to buy, Sega Mega Drives. Not hugely expensive. Still, the Super Nintendo consoles are going up quite considerably, and box ones are very, very expensive. But obviously, box consoles for any console are much more collectible and much more desirable because obviously it's original packaging. And again, in a number of years' time, they are worth more money if they're boxed. But if they're not boxed, it's not a massive issue. I mean, you can always buy one unboxed and then maybe get a boxed one later on. I'll give you a few tips on how best to do that in a future video. But this is kind of part one of the video. I'll give you a tip for maybe give you some more tips on part two, where to find cheap games and how to get yourself the games you want and get yourself some fairly more expensive games. Anyway, Mega Drive 2, they are they are still pretty cheap to buy. Mega Drive 1 actually as well is quite cheap, but Mega Drives are still comparatively cheap to buy. You've got a huge library of games, and all the games are usually pretty good quality. I mean, you have got a few bad ones. I mean, you get bad ones on any console. But anyway, the Mega Drive is still a very good console to look out for. It's still pretty cheap. I mean, because obviously they sold loads of them. So they're not hugely expensive yet. I mean, obviously the add-ons like the Mega CD and the 32X that you can put over the top of it and have this sort of weird contraption thing up and running, which gives you access to extra games. But to tell you the truth, unless you're a die-hard collector, they're not really worth going for. You might as well just get the Mega Drive and just have the really good library of games that are on there. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Again, these are the 4 consoles. I mean, the Mega Drive, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, and Nintendo Wii are the consoles I'd recommend for starting a collection. Anyway, guys, take care. Thank you very much for watching. I will have another part to this video soon of where to source cheap games, what you can do to get yourself some more expensive games, some little bits and pieces you can do. So take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you soon. Bye bye.